Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the official one and only Smite Super Builds. Today we had the very much so requested Kumbhakarna updated build. Now first I want to quickly go through his abilities for a couple reasons this time. For one, into building Kumbhakarna and also describing how he's getting an upcoming buff in the next patch. So moving on to his abilities here. So the update to his kit, which is pretty much just a buff, it is coming with the patch that has the new Chinese Guardian Zelkenon. I hope I pronounced that right, also known as the patch of the Indomitable Spirit. This patch features an increased damage to his Garge Strike and Uppercut. For the Uppercut sake, it is increasing the damage on his landing damage, not the initial damage, just the landing damage. But still, nice damage increase. And also another very important fact about that update coming is it is increasing the root damage from 1.5 seconds on his Garge Strike to 2 seconds. May not sound too much, but in actual combat it is quite a bit. So that's a very important update that is not featured in this video right now, but will be featured in an upcoming patch. Now, as far as building wise, nothing too much to say. You're very standard. You have a lot of CCs, you have okay damage. But one thing to look at is the Mighty Yawn, which is a really nice CC if you can maximize the Mez duration. The cooldown is 18 seconds, so we can look to shorten that up a bit, maybe with a couple cooldown items, maybe with cooldown boots, Breastplate of Valor, maybe Spear Rope, things like that, because that is kind of a long cooldown. And also I will talk about the way his passive works with this 3 and a certain item that you probably should not get. For some of you more experienced players, you probably already know the item I'm trying to talk about. But yeah, let's go into actually building Kumbhakarna. Now, as far as building Kumbhakarna in Conquest, of course, you definitely want to have a starter item, and that would definitely be in the Watcher's Gift. Of course, if you're playing Kumbhakarna in the support role, you can maybe play him as a solo laner. In that case, as a solo laner, you can maybe go into Vampiric Shroud. But typically, Kumba is played as a support, and in this case, you definitely will get the Watcher's Gift. Just mainly looking at the passive for upkeeping your gold, HP, and mana. And the not so popular other starter item is the Market of Vanguard. Has a decent amount of protections for in the early phases of the game, so maybe a little bit more early aggression. Passive is really good against gods that have damage over time effects, so it can minimize that. But you can also look at the viewpoint as with Watcher's Gift, you can just kind of chill next to your ADC, have him clear the minions, and then you get some HP back from that. That kind of makes up for the lack of protections that Watcher's Gift does not offer. Now, moving into the boots, of course, I talked about the Shoes of Focus a little bit earlier with the abilities. If you're just looking to do get more rotations out, more initiations, things like that with the Shoes of Focus early on with the early cooldown reduction. If not, you can go into the Traveler Shoes. This is mostly more common in Conquest because you can make really good use out of the 14% additional movement speed, so you can make faster rotations. Of course, this is while out of combat, as well as the extra gold income is always great in Conquest for supports, since supports are typically behind in gold and XP. But for now, let's just go ahead and pick up the Shoes of Focus so we can just continue the build. Now, after this, it is very, very typical to go into the Sovereignty and Hardware Amulet. These are pretty much your core items as a support. Of course, things can always change, like let's say you're playing Assault and you're fighting against a mostly physical-based team or a mainly magical-based team. Of course, you want to make the appropriate adjustments, probably just going into the Hardware Amulet. Or just going into Bulwark of the Hope or Stone of God, things like that. So it just kind of boils down to situational building for just guardians and supports in general. So just keep those things in mind. Not everything is really cookie cutter build for every situation. So just keep those things in mind. But let's just go with the Sovereignty and Hard Amulet, given that the enemy team is a fairly balanced team. They have, a couple physicals, the mage is very bursty, things like that. This is when the combination works the best at. And of course, the HP 5 and MP 5 on the Uras are always great in Assault, as well as the Ura effect also applies to you. So if you just picked up Sovereignty, you will also gain that magical protection on yourself as well as allies around you. Now, from here, it just goes into more situational items. Such as you can go into the Midgardian Male and or the Hide and Median Lion, given that the enemy team has a lot of physical gods that are basic attack based, like Assassins, hunters, maybe some warriors, maybe like Osiris, things like that. Then you're looking at Midgardian Mail, a really great physical protection item, really great passive to help slow the enemy's basic attack speed and also their movement speed. And also, the Hadam mini line is not too common nowadays, but with a pure physical attack base enemy team, this can work out, just reflecting a lot of that basic attack damage as magical damage. Now, what I talked about or hinted a little bit earlier about the Mystical Mail, this item, you don't pick this up on Kumbhakarna. The reason being is exactly for the Ur effect. It pulsates 40 damage per second within, a given radius. Now, the reason why you don't want to get this is if you want to maximize the use of your Mighty Yawn. Okay, so getting a little mixed up here. So the way the Mighty Yawn works is you hit it and it mesmerizes the target. It's not a stun, it's a mesmerize. Mesmerize, they break upon taking damage. That's exactly what a mesmerize is. So if you pop this and you're looking to just mesmerize enemies around you to make your escape, and you have the Mystical Mail, it's not going to work. The Mystical Mail pulsates damage, knocks them out of the mez. Therefore, you're not maximizing the use of your Mighty Yawn. And also, let's say you're in your passive where you get knocked down and you're sleeping for a few seconds and you're looking to mesmerize the targets around you, so that way you have a higher chance of surviving, or your enemy team or your teammates just backing you up. And then you have the Mystical Mail, then it breaks the mez and you just kind of die faster. So those are some of the reasons why you don't want to pick up the Mystical Mail on the Mighty Yawn. You could say you just want the Mighty Yawn used just purely for the slow duration and also the attack speed debuff. Sure, but for the maximum use, I don't really feel like you should be picking up the Mystical Mail, because it can actually kind of come back and bite you with the Mighty Yawn. So that's my opinion on the Mystical Mail. Now, of course, going into the magical protection side, I talked about it a little bit earlier with the Stone of Gaia, Borg of Hope. Pestilence is really great for shutting down healers. Don't forget, this item is a thing. It is really great. Also shutting down enemy high health regeneration gods like Shock Vamana and Hercules, things like that. And also the Spirit Robe is getting more and more popular. Really nice protections for both physical and magical. Offers no HP, but we can get HP from other items. And the cooldown reduction, be careful. If you have the cooldown boost, Breastplate of Valor, then you try to pick this item up, then the cooldown reduction has no extra benefits since the cap is 40%, so just be wary of the cooldown caps. But for now, let's just go into somewhat of a balanced and somewhat realistic pickup here. Let's go with Midgardian Mail and the Voidstone. Now, if you're looking to increase your HP for whatever reason, you definitely want to go into the Ethereal Staff. It gives you a lot of HP, and also works out if you're looking to be a little bit more of a bruiser. Reason being, example, so we have 70 magical power now, we picked this up, now we have 179 magical power, so if you're looking to do a little bit more damage, there you go. And that kind of leads us into more damaging items. Now, some really good damaging items is, for one, the Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver can be very, very devastating with the Epic Uppercut, especially with the added landing damage increase. So the way this works, every certain duration, you do 15% additional damage of the target's maximum HP as the added damage. So that's an incredible amount of damage increase. Of course, for any ability, if you're looking for damage, you obviously want to have some type of penetration. In this case, it would be the Obsidian Shard, since we cannot apply the Spear of Maga stacks too easily. So if you're looking for penetration, look for the Obsidian Shard and the Void Stone. And as always, for the maximum amount of damage, it would be the Rod to Hootie, since it offers so much, especially with the passive. So that pretty much wraps it up for the build video, but I almost forgot. We can never forget the actives. So real quickly with the actives. Now, with the upcoming patch that features the new Chinese guarding, Xingtian, the Weakening Curse is getting a nerf. It will no longer be the 100% reduction in healing. It will be reduced down to 65%. But it can still be effective when shutting down healers. Also, if you blink Curse, it will still be the same. Just you're picking this item up to slow the attack speed of your targets. Blink is very common. It's pretty much like a staple for Kumbhakarna players. And obviously the main reason will be is because Kumbhakarna has no initiation. I mean, you can call that an initiation if you want to, but sometimes you might want to use that to just clear the minion wave, or you want to save it to escape, things like that, then sure. But it's most commonly to pick up Blink in, and then, you know, go in for the Gargant Strike, or blink in, go in for the Mighty Yawn, or blink in to the Epic Uppercut, which is very devastating and it can take a lot of enemies by surprise. That is the most common active. Of course, for Assault, you definitely want to pick up Salvation, looking just to keep your team healthy. Shield Underworld, not too common, but you can pick it up just to reflect some of that damage, mostly against auto attack to base gods like Assassins and ADCs. Greater Purification Beads. Now, as a support slash tank, you don't really pick these up too often. The main reason is because you're a tank, you can kind of handle the CCs, you can kind of handle the damage that follows up from the CCs, things like that. And of course, the Shell, just looking to give more protections to your allies when you go to, you know, siege a tower or siege the enemy base, things like that. So that will officially wrap it up for the build video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.